me. It is actually today. I am 40 today. In the lead up to today, my sister and my mom sent me a bunch of photos from my childhood, one of which we used on the invite that you all saw. And it was just so much fun to get the chance to reconnect with little Vannykins, as my family calls me.
Loved your hair.
Well, that's the thing. So as you all now know, I was a teeny tiny, buck-toothed, four-eyed, poofy-haired, nerdy musical theater girl who spent my middle school lunch hours in the teacher's lounge helping them make photocopies. And it was actually one of those teachers in 6th grade who selected me and my best friend to come with her to a special lobbying day in the state capitol. And we were advocating for school funding. And to be honest, I didn't really care what we were advocating for because to me this was the trip of a lifetime. We got to take Amtrak. we had candy on the train, we had fast food for lunch, and we stayed in a hotel without our parents at 11 years old. It was incredible. But what sticks with me about that trip is I still remember the way my shoes clicked on the marble floors of the state capitol. And I remember the way the Senate chambers smelled like old books and leather. And I remembered the way that I felt when my elected officials, the grown-ups in suits, looked me in the eye and said that they were fighting for me. Little poofy-haired, nerdy Vanessa. They were fighting for my rights and my interests. And in that moment, a teeny tiny little spark of a dream started. And I share that story because sometimes it irks me when career politicians say, I never wanted to go into politics, it just happened. Because all the time, we tell small children to have big dreams. And I don't think anyone should be ashamed about having a dream to go into public service. To have a dream to make people feel the way that I felt, fully heard and listened to and represented by my elected officials. Now, I've carried that dream in my heart, but I didn't necessarily think I would ever get the chance to make it happen. My family didn't come from money. We're not connected to politicians. In fact, I didn't even know what the difference between a Democrat and a Republican was until I looked it up in the school library. But I was determined to find other ways to go into public service. So I went to school for government, for public policy. I received a fellowship from the State Department that brought me into the Foreign Service immediately upon graduation. And so I represented very proudly our country in Indonesia, in Vietnam, in Rome, and 30 blocks down the street, 20 blocks down the street at the United Nations. And then I came to New York and became a New York City public school teacher. And I taught 6th and 7th grade math and science at a public middle school right here in Manhattan. And as I got older, I realized that sometimes it didn't feel like my elected officials were thinking about my rights and representing my rights and best interests. And I learned that for many Americans, including many of the students that I taught and their families, including many of my neighbors right here in my community, they never felt like the people in power were representing their rights and their best interests. And so that little spark of a dream became to ignite a little bit more. And I became determined to really dig in and focus on the local level and politics on the local level. So almost a decade ago, I decided to get as involved as I could. I joined the community board. I joined my co-op board here in this wonderful building. I was a volunteer delegate for my city council's participatory budgeting committee. I joined my local Democratic club, the Lexington Democratic Club, where I have been so proud to serve as president for the past 2 years, and we have our new president, Howard. And along the way, I met so many incredible people. And so even as I got a deeper look as an insider in politics, I didn't become jaded. I became more determined to make a difference, because I believe from the bottom of my heart that government could and should be a mechanism for good, for making people's lives better. Yeah. And that's why I'm running for a brighter future for our city, for our community. I'm running toward a city that has 3K seats and pre-K seats for all, not just on paper, actually for all. I'm running toward a city where the streets and the sidewalks are accessible for people using walkers, strollers, carts, and wheelchairs. I'm running toward a community where anti-Semitism or any form of hate is completely unfathomable. I'm running toward a city where seniors can age in place in vibrant communities that are responsive to their needs. And I'm running toward a city where we take so much pride in our pristine streets and sidewalks that no one would ever dare not pick up their dog.